Dr. Patricia Wright has dedicated her career to ensuring individuals with autism have access to effective services and supports that lead to more joyful, meaningful lives. Passionate about education and advocacy, she's worked tirelessly to make the world a more inclusive place for autistic individuals and the communities that support them. Through her current role as Executive Director at Proof Positive, her bold vision is being realized. Thank you so much, Dr. Patricia Wright, for joining us here in AwareNow to share this space and to share this story. Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh, I am so grateful for people to get the message out, right? So communication is so important in our society. And so having people like you to champion that work it's a marriage made in heaven, let's say.
I quite agree. So let's begin with this question first for you. Can you share a pivotal moment or experience that motivated you to dedicate your career to advocate for individuals with autism?
Whenever anyone asks me about anything pivotal, I start with the first autistic person that I knew that I met was Sherry. I was 16, so many years ago, and Sherry was 8, and I was invited into her family to provide respite services. So Sherry and I spent many years together having cool adventures and fun, and we both loved to swim. We both loved to run around in playgrounds, and we both loved food. So it was just a really amazing time, and I got to know her and her family. And there was one moment that I still feel, and this is, I guess, 40 years later, I still feel to my core when I think about it. And Sherry and I were at a restaurant. She was having a really rough time. I knew she wanted something. Sherry did not use spoken language. I was not aware of alternative forms of communication at the time in my youth. She was trying just her very best to tell me she wanted something, and I would have given her whatever she had been asking for. It wasn't inappropriate for her to be asking for something. Throwing herself on the ground, yelling. I mean, just rough time. And I remember thinking, like, I have to do this better. This is not okay. This isn't okay for someone to be experiencing this just because they want something at a restaurant. Like, this just isn't right. And I remember thinking, I have to figure this out. I have to think about advocacy, determination. Her life has to be better. And then as I grew, right, like everybody's life can be better with supports and things. And the closing statement I often say is, it's not okay to have to throw yourself on the ground because you want French fries. It's like we have to be able to communicate, and that launched my career. Started out as a special educator. I knew I wanted to be a teacher, and then, autism services and supports for the rest of my career.
Thank you so much for sharing that. So in your extensive work with autism organizations, I guess my next question is, what key insights or lessons have you gained about creating more inclusive communities for autistic individuals and for their supporters?
Yeah, I would say most recently, I would say I've been reflecting on the fact I do not identify as an autistic person. I would like to think I'm an ally. I like to think that autistic people invite me in as an ally. I mean, that's their determination, not mine. I'm not designating myself as an ally. But most recently, I've just been reflecting on how do I follow the lead of the autistic community. I think part of it is individuals can advocate for themselves, and it's my job now to be an advocate and support alongside them. So when I first started out, there were not a lot of autistic voices. There weren't people that were autistic people talking about the experience of having autism. Temple Grandin was the only person that we could talk about that was someone who had this, and we all listened to her and read her books and all of those things. But now there are hundreds, thousands of autistic voices sharing their insight, telling us what they need. And it's my job as kind of an allistic person, a non-autistic person, to listen to them, listen to their families, also listen to other providers. But I feel like inclusivity starts by listening to the population for whom we're trying to support inclusion. And so for me, my work has become I need to start backing up and being a support, not being the leader. It's autistic people need to take the lead, and I need to afford that opportunity to support their work.
So, and what you said a moment ago really struck me, the fact that you said that, that
you are there to be an ally, but they have to bring you in and accept you as that. You can't just get, well, I'm an ally. Well, but are you? That's not for you to designate, but for them. And that's so powerful and that's so profound.
Yeah, it's a little humbling at times to wait for that invitation because I think those of us who've been in the service and support industry for a long time, we want to be that, we think we're that, but again, it's upon invitation that you're invited to that table.
So how is it that you approach the intersection of positive psychology and autism advocacy in your role specifically at this amazing organization, Proof Positive? And what impact do you foresee this integration having?
It's really interesting because I'll share with you that, again, worked in autism services for many years. Positive psychology, well-being were not part of that conversation for the first 35 years. It was around skill acquisition, teach this, get somebody a job. Those are kind of the things that we talked about. And I have to say that well-being wasn't part of the conversation. So I'm really excited about Proof Positive, where we're looking at the intersection of well-being and autism services and supports. And I think this is a part of our society in general. Everyone thinks like, oh, if you get the perfect job, if you learn the skills, if you get enough money, you'll be happy. But really, we need to flip that for everyone. But in our work for autistic individuals, it's like, no, we need to focus on happiness first. When you're happy, you learn more, you're a much more capable learner. When you're happy, you're able to access additional information. We can all think about that when I'm like anxious or, not able to focus. I can't learn. So we focus on happiness first. We have to flip that, happiness first, and then skill development, or simultaneously skill development. Because I think, that concept of first you learn skills and then you become happy, first you become wealthy and then you become happy, it's just not true, right? It's just not. We see it in society. And so for me, that intersection now, and it hasn't been well researched, Allié, it just hasn't. There's not a lot of information about well-being and autism. So I think that it's an opportunity for Proof Positive to champion that work.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Absolutely. So given your background in designing systems of support for children with autism, what do you see as the most crucial components for ensuring that such systems effectively meet the diverse needs? Because as you know, it's not one size fits all, the diverse needs of autistic individuals, again, and their families.
Yeah, I feel really privileged that I've been able to work across the age span, multiple cultures. I've worked in urban and rural. I've had opportunities to work in cultures that I don't identify as my own, to help me kind of, to be honest with you, just teach me a lot of humility around what you just shared, that one size doesn't fit all. You have to be working in collaboration, all of those. I do want to give voice first around access. So I think whenever you're trying to think about supports for individuals or what people need, access is always the first area that we need to address. Some people just don't have access to service support. There are families out there that just don't have resources they need to provide support to their very involved, son or daughter with autism. And so I think it would be inappropriate to not talk about that and say that we really do need to ensure that every individual has equal opportunity, be that employment, be that opportunity for, therapy, any of those things. Once you kind of identify that as an issue, the next thing really is, personalized, customized, individualized. So, you asked me at a systems level, which is where I've been working for many years. And sometimes systems level forget that those systems are to address people's needs. And so first you have to think about the individual. So you have to design the systems to be personalized. That means the system assumes you are co-designing access to services and supports with individuals. The system assumes self-determination. An individual gets to tell you what they need. The system has to do that. It can't be the system that's rolled out. But I do think that sometimes the system forgets that. It's actually the person. The measure of a successful system is the report of the individuals that it's serving. So that would be the criteria for a system evaluation, would be, do the individuals that it's trying to serve actually report that it's helpful.
Not sure how I just got goosebumps about a statement that had the word reports in it. I don't think that would have given me goosebumps, but it just did. Because it's so true. We focus so much on the efficiencies of these systems, but how about how that, again, the report of the one who it's supposed to be serving in service to?
Correct. Correct.
And I've got one more question for you today, and it is, as a global leader in autism advocacy and programming, what do you believe are the most pressing challenges facing the autism community today, and how can these challenges be overcome?
Yeah, at most challenging. At a macro level, I would say it's the marginalization of people with disabilities. That we continue to other disabled people in our culture. We continue to think that autistic people are not part of the human condition, that it's just something, this other thing. And so Maya Angelou is somebody who I have incredible value for her wisdom. And she has this quote that says, "In diversity there is beauty and there is strength." And I think that the most pressing issue is that marginalization, that perception, and this is all issues of diversity. I think gender, race and ethnicity, socioeconomic, that in diversity there's strengths for us. So that part for me is wanting to have it be, I have autism is not met with anything other than like, tell me more about that. In the same way that said, I was raised in an urban environment, tell me more about that. Or I identify as a woman, tell me more about that. So I think that that's for me is at the macro level. I want to go back to kind of additional resources. Too many families are without support. Autistic individuals are not able to secure employment because HR professionals haven't been able to access proper support and training. And autistic teens are lonely because we don't have enough social networks to support their development of making friends. And so we know how to solve all three of those three problems and many more I just listed, but or that I didn't list, but we need to go back and actually make sure people have access. And then I would be remiss if I didn't say it, just a completely pragmatic level, right? Macro, now we've got these access issues, and really, let's all just practice the skills of well-being. They're not that hard. Gratitude practices, 15 minutes a day. There's really simple practices to boost your positive emotions, leveraging our own character strengths. We can do that. And, those small well-being actions really can change the world for tomorrow, right? If we are all able to access those skills of well-being, we will open ourselves to additional learning, additional problem solving, being able to create the world that we all want to live in.
Love that. Well, and then, to your point of love and appreciation for Maya Angelou, we are more alike, my friends, than we are unalike, she says.
Correct. Correct.
So I so appreciate all that you've shared today in these insights, and just want to thank you for helping us all become a bit more aware now. Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. We really appreciate this time.
Me too.